Talofa lava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Suisuki. Coming up.
Everyone's coming in. Every man and his dog coming into the Pacific.
Samoa's Prime Minister warns of growing geopolitical interest in the region. Also,
for us as, Māori and Pasifika, our brain leans more to the creative side.
Pacific youth get into Tech Week and
whoever gets to put on the jersey this weekend, go up against quality individual, and not just him, but also the quality side. It will be an exciting challenge.
Moana Pasifika ready for its showdown with the Chiefs. Samoa's Prime Minister says it's a tough time for the Pacific as leaders navigate a dynamic geopolitical arena of countries wanting in and wanting more. A long-running regional architecture review has entered its final stage. It's the Pacific Islands Forum leaders' response to the increasing interest from a growing number of Forum dialogue partners wanting a seat and influence at the regional decision-making table. Whia Mayor Naomi Mataafa spoke with Lydia Lewis on the sidelines of the University of the South Pacific meeting in Auckland, New Zealand.
The whole concept of regionalism and the supposed benefits drawn from those, and how real is that? For instance, the Forum now is just completing a review of the Forum architecture. They're on the final phase. So the first review was a situational analysis. Second phase was drawing recommendations from the result of that analysis. And now the third phase, which has been undertaken by a team of 3, they're essentially now making the rounds, taking the recommendations, having sit-downs with leaders and in the region, to go through the recommendations that are being made. But their basic question is, is Pacific unity still there? Do we still want it? If we do, what do we want it to look like?
Is it still there?
We say it is, but in practice, I personally think that there is fragmentation. There's always that conflict between, the collective and the national interests and so forth. So we really do have to be thinking about what is it in regionalism that we want to make sure stays. So I think those conversations really need to take place. The geopolitical situation, Pacific's becoming very contested. It's becoming very congested.
What have you noticed in this year, for example? Can you give me an example of who's been contacting you and how?
Oh, everyone's coming in. Every man and his dog coming into the Pacific. And, for small administrations, we have to do our work. But yet, we're having teams of, from partners. And so, it's quite difficult to keep focus and to navigate the sort of evolving geopolitical interests, and so it's a challenging time for us in the Pacific.
In terms of the US, there's been some broken promises, some developments with the Trump administration. How is that impacting the conversations around this review now?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it will be a significant element in the review. For Samoa, the whole tariff thing it won't impact us as much as some of the other countries. Fiji were 30-something%, and we're the general 10%.
But there's the funding, promised by the Biden administration, and also issues with the USAID as well.
Yeah, well, there's not a lot, really. Most of the American money goes to the north.
Okay.
In the Micronesian areas, which has been a traditional thing. For us in Samoa, that we have American Samoa as a territory of the US, I think that's something we need to pay some attention to, and how.
What sense?
Well, how any decisions made by any administration of America filtering through to American Samoa, because the vicinity of our closeness, and we've also been building other than the kinship ties, but the government-to-government relations with American Samoa.
Finally, what is your political strategy heading into next year's election, given your current status outside of the two major political parties?
Well, our focus at the moment is completing the term, and that has always been, an issue. And, we had 2 motions of no confidence. I've always said that, Parliament would determine whether we remain, in government as a minority government, and it would appear that that's still the status quo. We have a budget coming up next week. That's another usual parliamentary issue that determines confidence and so forth. My reading is no one really wants to go to an early election, and there are a few technical issues that would make it difficult. The main one being that we're doing a complete re-registration of the voters, and I think we're not yet at 60%. So that's a real consideration, apart from other technical things. But in terms of your question, what we've said in our cabinet is that, we all need to pay attention to our individual constituencies, whether we want to run again or not. For me personally, I don't think the FAST party, I don't think I'll be flying the FAST flag. I think there's some real credibility issues around the party now with the split, also the personalities. So I think if we do go forward, it will either be under a completely different umbrella or independent. So we still have to make that decision.
This week, experts from around the Pacific have been at the Cawthron Institute to discuss the threat posed by ciguatera poisoning. Ciguatera is considered a growing threat to food security, livelihoods and public health in the Pacific. It's a toxin that can infect fish, particularly in reef areas. The Cawthron Institute's Christy Smith, an expert in molecular and algal ecology, told Don Wiseman more about the threat posed by ciguatera.
Ciguatera is a seafood illness that's really prevalent in all kind of tropical and subtropical regions of the world, and it's caused by the accumulation of toxins into fish species. So the toxins actually come from tiny microscopic microalgae that are then eaten by the fish species, and then the toxins from the algae will accumulate into the fish, and then when humans eat the fish, they can get really sick from those toxins.
How sick can they get? Is it a fatal condition?
Yeah, so it can vary. The symptoms vary quite a lot, from kind of gastrointestinal illness right through to more neurological symptoms, where a common symptom is a reversal of the feeling of hot and cold, for example. That's quite a common symptom. So things that are usually hot feel cold and vice versa. And then right through to kind of more respiratory distress, and potentially can be fatal if you receive a large dose or you receive quite a few doses over your lifetime. Then eventually they can become much worse over time and eventually can lead to death, unfortunately.
The presence of this ciguatera, or the ciguatoxin, it's not apparent when you're in the process of preparing fish.
No, that's right. It doesn't seem to affect the fish at all themselves, so you can't observe any differences between a non-toxic and a toxic fish just by looking at them. It's actually really, really difficult, and that's what makes it so much of a concern, is that it's not very easy to diagnose a toxic fish. Even in the laboratory setting or a testing laboratory setting, the methods for detecting these toxins are really complicated and hard to do.
All right. As far as the Pacific goes, it's a significant threat, isn't it?
Yep.
Because the fish that get the ciguatera tend to be reef fish, and most Pacific Island countries have substantial reefs, don't they?
That's right. All Pacific countries really depend on their reef ecosystems for a food source. It's really important. So that's what makes it so sad, is that the fish that are in the reef systems often do accumulate these toxins to quite high levels, but people can't really avoid eating fish, so they often will get sick numerous times in their lifetime and just can't really avoid it, because it's a fact of life that you're going to need to fish for your families and provide food for your families. So that makes it particularly heartbreaking. The Pacific also has some of the highest rates of ciguatera in the world. About 80% of all cases come from the Pacific region. So it's a really significant issue here.
Yes. At the Cawthron Institute this past week, you've had people from right across the Pacific looking at this issue and looking at, I suppose, what they do in their various countries, but also how they can improve the way in which they go about dealing with ciguatera.
Yes, that's right. We were hoping to bring together people from across the Pacific so we could all kind of share our knowledge together and learn from each other, as well as kind of identifying what the kind of biggest knowledge gaps are and where we should focus our efforts in the near future, whether that's helping provide training to different countries or developing new test methods or learning more about how people are sampling and testing in their countries. It's been really, really valuable, and I think we've created a really strong network and relationships amongst the group, and hopefully that will continue into the future and we'll be able to work together to kind of help solve some of these big knowledge gaps that exist with this illness.
So you've been talking about these various things that people can do and the knowledge gaps and so on. So just how beneficial has it been?
Yeah, it's been extremely beneficial, I think, because we as scientists, I think it's important for us to learn from people in the community who are really experiencing, the issues. It's really important for us as scientists to, hear from people in the community really impacted from this illness and to really focus on the things that are going to make the most impact for them as well. So increasing methods for detection and monitoring, I think, are our high priority moving forward.
I guess your detection is always going to be after the fact, isn't it? You're going to be detecting once someone has got the poison or not.
Yeah, that's right. I think in the past a lot of the monitoring has been reactive. So when there's been outbreaks, then that will trigger kind of monitoring and sampling to happen. But I think after listening to everyone today that we want to try and set up more like kind of long-term data gathering projects so that we can start coming up with indicators of outbreaks. So when we think outbreaks might be more common, then we can set up more warning systems for people to prevent consuming fish at those more dangerous times. So if we can become more predictive around when we might think ciguatera will occur, I think it will be really beneficial for communities.
Creative lead Muliangatele Danny Brother D. Leo Savai says that raising awareness and introducing young people to various technologies is crucial, especially for Māori and Pacific Islanders who have unique learning styles. As part of Tech Week 2025, the Cause Collective's event, South Auckland to the Tech World, delivered a powerful message. The future is not solely in Silicon Valley, but also in their hands. The event brought together high school students, major tech companies and community leaders. Gracie Va'ai has more.
In a warehouse turned innovation hub in Wiri, South Auckland rangatahi entered a world that once felt distant: artificial intelligence, holographic tech and digital storytelling. Music producer turned youth mentor Muliangatele Danny aka Brother D Leo Savai is pioneering the tech space for the youth and says there are many facets to tech that Māori and Pacific people can tap into.
There's a lot of different aspects of technology and there's a lot of creative technology as well. And for us as, Māori and Pasifika, our brain leads more to the creative side. I called it the South Auckland to the tech world because I really wanted to, as a lot of people know, I always fly the flag of South Auckland everywhere I go. This is a great industry to be flying a flag in.
Graphic designer Mata Afakpio Mulipola says he's seen a lot of youth come through the doors, leaving with a clearer sense of direction.
We've had a few graduates that come here, they might not know what they're doing with their careers. They might not know what's possible in the tech space, but they come and they dab into all the different parts of design and tech world, and then they're able to find what strengths they have and then they can go off and maybe do further study or even create their own ideas.
Former Pakuranga student DJ Tavurangi completed the Cause Collective Tech course and expresses his enthusiasm to pursue his passion further.
At first I thought it was just designing it as a foundation, but then slowly I started really learning more about graphic designing and how I can sort of pursue that. And it just slowly became my passion as I started building. I know there's a lot of people who treat designing as a hobby or such as sketching and things like that.
Papatoetoe High School student Rishka Chand says she's inspired to pursue a career in card architecture.
For me, when I grow up, I want to be a card architect, where I want to design web pages and I want to start coding, which I think would be very, very beneficial for me. So that's something I want to take in the future.
Ishana Parapili-Bijo expresses that Tech Week has opened up other opportunities.
There's a lot to learn and there's lots of experience. There aren't many people who get this opportunity, so this opportunity would really help for us, our future, and basically everything.
Moana Pasifika head to FMG Stadium in Hamilton this weekend with one goal in mind, securing a win against the Chiefs. Now at the business end of the Super Rugby Pacific season, Moana have one foot in the door with only the Chiefs and Hurricanes standing between them and a top 6 finish. Moana Pasifika have racked up a long list of firsts this year, surprising both rugby pundits and all the teams they have beaten to put them in contention for the playoffs. Their opponents this weekend are favourites at home, but say they're wary of the threat Moana pose. Elias Atora has more.
Last weekend's 27-21 win over the Blues, the current competition champions, at the North Harbour Stadium pushed Moana Pasifika back into the top 6 with 2 games to go. Fly half Patrick Pellegrini, who has been a key driver in the team's success so far, says the team will need to be at their best if they are to get that win.
Looking to the Chiefs, just focusing on my role in, making sure I can lead the team around the park and just nailing my job, making sure I get that down pat, everyone just kind of focused on their role. And then there's me as a 10 just driving that into this game. We know they're a solid team, so all of us are going to have to be on our best this week. Yeah, just mainly focus on my role, make sure I deliver what I've been practicing this week in training going into this game.
He says being firmly grounded and keeping their emotions in check are things they have been asked to do during their preparation week.
Good win last week, but it's kind of just making sure we come back to ground, we're on a high, but making sure we're focused on this next job now and really just kind of nail our jobs this week. We can't look back, we just look forward now and just make sure we take it day by day and get the best out of every day to give us a, best chance on Saturday.
Chiefs head coach Clayton McMillan says Moana Pasifika have improved, with last Saturday's win over the Blues showing a step up in the side's performance.
Been impressive all year, I reckon. They've taken a big step forward. To sit back last week and be impressed by performance against the Blues. A good, intelligent kicking game. Work hard for each other defensively. Sound set piece they can launch from. Ball carriers that can defensive lines and really challenge you. So just a really well balanced, well coached team and getting the reward for all of their effort.
McMillan pointed to Adi Savea's consistent performance for the North Harbour side, but added the All Black Lucy is not the only threat in the team, with other game breakers across their lineup.
He's still got 2 arms and 2 legs like everyone else last time I saw, but you just got to be accurate. He's not the only one that poses a threat with ball in hand in their team. So I think if you narrow your focus around one person, then you get stung elsewhere. So we just respect what they bring to the table, the results that they've had, their ambition, and they know what's on the line.
Meanwhile, Chiefs number 8 Wallace Setiti is excited about meeting Savea on the field, adding the Moana Pasifika team is a quality side.
Oh, look, Adi's Adi, and he's doing some special stuff over there, and I think everyone's seen it. He's had a special year, and but if I know Adi, he's not done yet. So whoever gets to put on the jersey this weekend, go up against quality individual, and not just him, but also the quality side. It will be an exciting challenge.
The Chiefs host Moana Pasifika at 7:05 p.m. at the FMG Stadium on Saturday. In other round 15 matches, the Crusaders meet the Highlanders, Reds host the Hurricanes, while Western Force and the Waratahs battle off in Perth. The Fijian Drua and the Brumbies are on a bye.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, Tōwha Soifua.